This video is sponsored by Skillshare. This video, and I wanted to make a review about some of the things he said. This guy. Let's just see the video. So this video is a review of Stephen Kalayjian in the TikTok office. Yeah, so you can see what we are going to get into. So let's see what the video is all about.
No, bro.
Good, man. So, Steve, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. All right, break down what you're doing right now. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. What are you looking for? What are you kind of focused on?
So I'm just getting my eyes, zeroed in on what's going on. I just walked in about 10 minutes ago to start getting my desk organized, and then I'm just starting my live room at 8. Checking my economic calendar because I don't like to trade into any economic news. So if there's any 8:30 numbers coming out or at 10 o'clock, I want to get ready and prepared for it. But just right now, I'm just going left to right, just checking out the futures contracts, where the overall markets are. Looking at some of the FOREXs, the pound, the euro, the dollar, yen.
So if you heard what he said, he gets. I feel when it comes to forex or any kind of trading, you should have an organized space where you know where everything is. It's very important because forex is actually a mind game. It's everything happens in your mind. You can have all the stats, everything correct, but if your mind isn't set right, a lot of things might go wrong. So point one of anything trading is get your space set up. You should know where everything is. Your space should be set up, organized, and everything. So that's a good point from him. Let's continue and see what he has for us.
And looking at the index futures.
How's that
Yeah, I'm trying to buy the S&P futures because the futures 8 o'clock in the morning. Equity markets start at 9:30, but I got a lot of guys who trade futures when I come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. So whether it's the index futures, the crude oil, currency markets, I have a GDP.
Okay, so at this point, if you're a newbie, you might be wondering what is he talking about, but those who have been in the market or traded before would know some of the details he's talking about. So we go straight into my second point, which is know what you're into. If it's forex or binary or stocks you're trading, you should know. You should have information. You should have in-depth knowledge on what you're doing, which is very important. To get books like the book in the description will give you details into what you have to know more of what you're doing, not just surface knowledge, deep knowledge into exactly what you're doing. So all what he's talking about is details. Little details in forex trade is very important because little details can affect the market and little details can determine the best from the worst. So let's continue.
Number coming in at 8:30. So the economy looks like it's strong. It could be a sign that the Federal Reserve is going to start raising interest rates again. And if it's a weak GDP, well, it could be taken two ways: that the economy is starting to falter, and that maybe that it would be offset by the Federal Reserve not looking to raise interest rates again. So there's a
Okay, so at this point, you notice he's talking about a lot of things. That means he's trading a lot of things. You can hear some stock in there, you can hear some forex in there. So it's a lot to take, but you should understand, like my second point, where I said he knows his stuff. He knows what he's getting into. He knows the details of everything. So he's confident on when and when not to enter the market. So let's continue.
combination. It's a whole way of, you have to interpret it, but hey, S&P, sell 90 or better here, and then cancel the balance. So all day long we're in here, but right now after this trade I probably won't do much, because of the fact that you don't want to have a position going into a big number like GDP at 8:30. All my life I've never traded into an economic news. I mean, I have 30 minutes, 25 minutes before, okay, S&P is 9.25. So I probably, I wouldn't be doing much here, so
okay, so at this point he says something along the line of not trading against economic news. I heard something like that.
I get on in 10 seconds, but people who are normally on a little bit before would have probably caught that, one little trade, scalp trade on the S&Ps. If you look at all the 4 ETFs, reversed yesterday and continued to be in a solid uptrend.
What are we looking at? You got a lot of screens. A lot of people are like, oh, what do you need all the screens for? Tell us kind of what we're looking at on the screens and kind of break it down. I think I was trying to explain to people how, every screen is either a different instrument or different equity.
Correct.
Or futures. So
because I have so many screens up is not because of any ego or anything like that. It's because of the way I've been doing this for well over 25.
But you should check his composure though. He knows his stuff. He's just relaxed. He knows what he's getting into. He has calculated the risk and everything. So it's very important to know what you're getting. You see how relaxed he is. He has either entered into a trade or he's not into a trade right now. He just gets. He knows it's not just entering the trades over and over and over again. No, he knows when to stop, relax, then come into the trade again. So he's not trading all day.
30 years, and that's because of the fact that I want to be able, even though technology, which I have behind me, with my 3 assistants, I have my algos running behind me and they're blurting out stuff for me.
Yeah.
Right. But it's important that, you know, when I'm more of a visual guy too, right? So when I'm able to have all my different instruments that I look at, that I trade, that my customers and my traders look at, right? It's good that, you know, I'm in a rhythm with it. So instead of just having the algo just say, okay, you know, buy S&Ps, then I want to watch the pattern, and then I can trade in that pattern all day long. Number one thing is you want to be on the right side of the market, right?
Yeah.
So I'm able to identify the trend, whether it's a negative or a positive trend, and then like yesterday we caught the whole.
Okay, so he explains it now. So he says the reason why he has a lot of screens, which is, yeah, he has a lot of screens, is because he's trading a lot of instruments. What does he mean by instruments? He's trading on a lot of things like gold, oil. He's trading on a lot of things, so he has to have different screens specifically for every instrument he is trading. I think that's a very good point. If that's a very good point. If you are trading a lot of things, you're trading a lot of instruments, it will be important to have a visual on all of them on different screens.
Reversal up.
You're also looking for kind of like correlations too.
Yeah. So
like with
right.
the SPY, how does that work? Like, let's say I'm trading the E-minis.
Right.
What am I looking for in the SPY?
So when I trade, you could trade the futures contracts before. My research has shown me you can trade during the Tokyo and the European session outright using my technology, and then you can trade up until 9:30. So what happens is that once the bell rings at 9:30 and all the markets open, equities.
So you hear what he says? It's research. So you should understand. Even though he's an expert and he has been in the industry for 20 years, he still does research on improving himself every time, and that is very, 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 very important. At this time, he talks about his software.
ETFs. So yesterday, for example, if you look here, I caught the buy reversal using my proprietary algorithm on the 15-minute time frame.
Okay, he said he wrote this. I know that he's a software engineer. Yeah, but he says he wrote a software that helps with FOREX or trading. So he teaches this to the people who work with him and the people.
I caught the buy reversal here at 12:45 on the spiders, right? But if you look back, and I have to scroll back here, you can see that when I got the buy signal on the S&P futures.
Okay, so he says something. He says, how long can he be in a trade? And he says 1 to 2 minutes, I think.
Right here at, I think it was about 15 minutes before, 11:45, like an hour earlier. So at 11:45, I
1 minute to 30 minutes on the trade. Okay, that's fine.
caught the buy signal, and I said to everybody that I thought the lows were in for the day.
From the review of part of the video, you can notice he takes time to study the market. That's one thing I would say for anyone who wants to start or who is even an expert. Go back, check, go see. You should study the trade, the market so much. Even the candlesticks, study them past. Go back and study their patterns over and over again. Naturally, if you study them over and over again, you would have that intuition. Even though you have statistics by your side, you have that intuition on when it's going up or when it's going down. So this is the end of the review. We'll be having a part 2 for this. This video is sponsored by Skillshare.